Hello students, welcome to Shriram's IAS. Welcome to this current affair class. Something very significant has happened for the first time in the history of India. We are going to study about subcategorization of castes. After the Supreme Court judgment last year on 1st of August 2024, Telangana became the first state to actually notify and implement the policy of subcategorization. So we are going to see it here on our slide. To understand what subcategorization really means, we have to understand the word categorization. Now, to simplify the concept of categorization, I have made some handwritten notes for you. I hope you are going to see this and understand it more better. So imagine a class of 100 students. For example, there is a class which consists of 100 students. What can be different grounds on which that 100 student class can be classified or categorized? Okay, it's a homogeneous class consisting of 100 students. If you have to categorize them into different groups, on what basis you can do? They can be categorized on the basis of gender. For example, 100 people, there would be 50 male and 50 females. They can also be categorized on the basis of religion, that there are 30 Hindus, 30 Muslims, 20 Christians and 20 Sikh. They can also be categorized on the basis of caste, that 30% of the students comes from unreserved category, general category, 30 of them come from OBC, 30 from SC and 10 from ST. So this is how we categorize. And we are understanding this in order to understand what subcategorization means. There can be other grounds as well. The economic status, for example, 30 out of 100 comes from upper caste, 30 are coming from upper middle class and 40 are coming from middle class. Similarly, they can also be categorized on the basis of marks in their examination, their academic achievement, that 60 of them got first division and 40 of them got second division. So these are several methods, several grounds on which the class of 100 students can be categorized. Now, moving on to the next slide, if you take this particular category here, if these 100 students were categorized on the basis of caste, and you pick up this one categorization, if 30 of these students belong to the scheduled castes, so out of 100, 30 of them belong to the scheduled caste. So this is one homogeneous category which is called as scheduled caste. Okay, 15% of reservation according to Indian legislation is provided to this class, this one homogeneous class. Now, in order to understand subcategorization, we have to look towards more in-depth targeting of this homogeneous category. This particular homogeneous category of 30 students out of 100 can be further divided into different castes. Okay, out of these 30 students, several of them would belong to one particular caste, the other would belong to a second number caste, and so on and so forth. Let's say there are 9 total castes. Not all of them will be equal in status, socially speaking or economically speaking. Some of these castes would be more advantageous than the other castes. So, caste number 1, let's say, and caste number 2 are more educationally, more socially and economically advantaged than caste number 8 and caste number 9. And remember, all of them come under the category of scheduled castes. Now we are doing the subcategorization. We are looking into this targeting different categories through reservation, with the help of reservation. Okay, so there can be several castes within the homogeneous group or a homogeneous class or category of scheduled castes. And not all of them will be advantageous. Some of them will be more advantageous than the other one. But the reservation policy is applied to all of them in a homogeneous manner. That means the benefits of reservation are reaped by those advantaged groups within the scheduled caste, those advantaged caste within the scheduled caste which are more educationally, socially and economically advantaged compared to those which are far more marginalized. Hence, the rationale behind the reservation is not fulfilled. And there is where the Supreme Court has jumped in. I hope you have understood this matter of what categorization is and what subcategorization is. Now going back to our definition, and the definition of subcategorization says that it is the categorization within the classes. So we have seen that the student, there were 100 of them, and if we have categorized them, 30 of them would come from scheduled castes, and those 30 students which come from scheduled caste can be further divided into different castes. Okay, this is what is called subcategorization. Now we have taken the example of a class of 100 students. Now we are going to implement the same policy on a particular state. Let's say the state of Telangana. In the state of Telangana, scheduled castes are there, and 15% of reservation is provided to this homogeneous category of scheduled caste. They are taken as a whole. They are not subcategorized. But what Telangana has done after the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, that it has subcategorized, and it has become the first state to subcategorize the scheduled castes. That simply means it has made 3 categories: category number 1, category number 2, and category number 3. And it has provided 1% reservation to category number 1, and there would be several castes which will be there in this category number 1. 9% reservation to category number 2, there will be several castes within this category number 2, and remaining 5% reservation to category number 3, and there will be several castes within this category number 3. I hope you are getting this. Moving on to the next slide. To get a better understanding, there are few examples for you to understand that how many castes can be there within the homogeneous category or homogeneous class of scheduled castes. So, for example, let's take the example of Bihar. 15% reservation is given to scheduled castes, but there are several castes within the homogeneous category of scheduled castes. They can be many. Pasi is one caste, Musahar is other caste, Dom is another caste, Chamar is another caste, Mochi is another caste. Similarly, in Punjab and in Telangana also, there are several castes within scheduled caste. And state till now did not have the power to subcategorize the scheduled caste, which it has done now after the judgment of the Supreme Court. In the year 2000, a rationalization of the reservation policy was attempted by the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh state, but it was struck down by the Supreme Court in Chinnaya case in 2004. It was legally challenged in the Supreme Court. But now the Chinnaya case has been overturned by the recent case of Devinder Singh, the state of Punjab versus Devinder Singh case in 2024 in the month of August by the Supreme Court, allowing the state governments to subclassify or subcategorize the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribe. There was an Indra Shawnee case in the 90s. It allowed for the subcategorization of other backward classes, OBCs, but it does not extend the subcategorization facility to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It also gave the provision of creamy layer to OBCs, but there was no creamy layer provision to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. But the recent judgment of the Supreme Court in the state of Punjab versus Devinder Singh, the states have been empowered by the Supreme Court to actually subcategorize the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. And hence, Telangana became the first state to subcategorize the scheduled castes to better target the reservation policy, to better target the benefits of reservation policies. So it's a very important thing for you to understand for your upcoming examination. Moving on to the next slide, this is the notification which has been brought. This is the Chief Minister. Telangana brings. Now this is the actual act under which this particular notification has been brought. Telangana Scheduled Caste Rationalization of Reservation Act 2025. Under this particular act, the subcategorization has been done. Okay. Now, it is paramount for you to understand Article 341. What is this Article 341? And constitutionally speaking, who actually has the power to subcategorize, or who actually has the power, which authority has the power to make the list of which castes will be there under scheduled castes, under scheduled tribes? So under Article 341, this power is given to the President of India. The President of India, after consultation with the governor of a state, will make a list of the scheduled castes. So for example, Telangana would have several scheduled castes. Actually, there are around 59 scheduled castes in Telangana, and the whole homogeneous category of scheduled caste consists of 59 different castes. So it is the President, after consultation with the governor, who decides these 59 castes. Once that list has been made, the inclusion of another caste or the exclusion of a particular caste can only be done by the parliament. So state government did not have the power to actually modify the list of the scheduled caste in that particular state. It is the power with the central government. It is the President who makes the list, and it is the parliament which modifies that list. Modification simply means including or exclusion. Okay, state government did not have any power. After the interpretation by the Supreme Court, the power to subcategorize has been given to the state governments. That simply means President can make a list and it can name several castes. Caste number 1, caste number 2, caste 3, and it can go on. And let's say there are around 59 castes in this list. If you have to include one more caste and make it 60, that will be done by the parliament. Or if you have to exclude one caste and make it 58, that also will be done by the parliament through legislation. But what power does state government have after the particular judgment by the Supreme Court? The power to subcategorize. And we have already seen what subcategorization simply means. It simply means to categorize within the class. That if there are scheduled caste as a homogeneous category which is getting the benefit of reservation, there will be further categories made within the scheduled caste for the better target of reservation, for the better benefit of the policy of reservations. It is a very important judgment of the Supreme Court and a very important decision by the Telangana government. So that is the new policy of Telangana government. This is category number 1. There are 15 socially, economically and educationally disadvantaged scheduled caste communities, and they have been given 1% reservation. That is actually subcategorization. Earlier, all these three categories, category number 1, category 2 and category 3, were getting 15% reservation. Okay. And maybe category number 2, which is the most disadvantaged, the most advantaged one, would actually take the benefit of all the 15% of reservation in employment and education. And there may have been a possibility that other categories may not get the benefit. But the subcategorization ensures that all the categories, all the castes within the scheduled castes are going to get the benefit of reservation, because it is better targeting. Category number 1, which consists of 15 disadvantaged scheduled caste community, will get 1%. Category number 2, which consists of 18 moderately benefited scheduled caste category, will get 9% quota, and 26 significantly benefited scheduled caste communities will get 5% quota. So you see, 15 most disadvantaged scheduled caste categories also gets 1% of reservation. That is what is subcategorization. If subcategorization would not have been there, there would have been a possibility that these 15 categories would not get the benefit of reservation at all, because the total benefit of reservation would have been taken by these two categories. And at last, this one category would not be left with any job and a position in an educational institute, which it deserves. So to do justice to the reservations and to do justice with the reservation policy, subcategorization is must, and Telangana becomes the first state to do so. So we have already seen in Indira Shawnee case what has happened. The subcategorization facility was made available to the backward classes, but not to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. There was a 50% ceiling on reservation also. This was also a policy made by the Honorable Supreme Court under the Indira Shawnee case. It was a judgment, a very, very important judgment for modern India. And also a creamy layer concept was introduced in the Indira Shawnee case for other backward castes. We have also seen about this 2004 cases which rejected the Rationalization of Reservation Act of 2000 by the Andhra Pradesh government, which has actually subcategorized the scheduled castes into 4 different groups. Okay. But now that particular judgment, Chinnaya case of 2004, has been overturned by the Supreme Court. So this judicial pronouncement has called E.V. Chinnaya case as not a good law. Okay, it's very important. Now this subcategorization which is done has to take care of 2 very important things, that it should be based on empirical data and it has to be fair and reasonable. It cannot be made by an arbitrary process. It has to be fair, it has to be just, it has to be reasonable. Those are the 3 very important things, and it should be based on some empirical data which should be logically and reasonably explained why this subcategorization has been made. So there has to be some social, economic data available on which that subcategorization has to be made. That cannot be made on the basis of political consideration or for politicizing the whole idea of reservation policy. It should be based on some empirical data. And reservations in India are provided under Article 16 and under Article 15 of the Constitution. So this was the whole idea behind subcategorization. A history has been made by Telangana government to introduce subcategorization in the category of scheduled caste, which is a very, very important step towards rationalizing the policy of reservations in India. Thank you very much for joining me in this particular lecture, and I hope to see you next time. All the best and Jai Hind.